Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we aim to help 10,000 reps hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohammed, aka the Logistics Monk. With me is my good friend who is all in on the podcast today, my man Dan Deegan. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, today is day 8, all food by mouth. Day 8, brother. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything.
Ooh, breakfast. Okay, so what'd you eat last night? We gotta get into that, man. We gotta.
So I actually made sausages with like this kind of banger style mashed potatoes with pork in it, like Mediterranean pork in it with a little bit of Mediterranean sauce covered in tzatziki with kind of like how Osmos does the lines of tzatziki. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
presented it like that with a little bit of broccoli. That was really good. It was actually these Parmigiano and pesto sausages that I found. They were really good. Like normally I'm a hot Italian sausage guy, but I was like, well, you know what? Try different things and turned out pretty good, buddy. Turned out pretty good.
There we go. That's the thing. I'm looking forward to our sushi lunch date on Thursday with a
Yes,
good friend.
yes,
I cannot wait to get some sushi.
yes.
I've been like on like a fitness thing, Dan. So like I've been all about like the oatmeal and eating like good and like going to the gym. Like I already got crushed 2 workouts this morning. I'm feeling good, man. It's your
Good
health.
for
Health
you.
is your wealth, my man. So I'm happy to hear that you're eating everything like that. So I've got a pretty
Yeah.
cool topic today, but let's hit our intro while we get into it. Boom.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
There we go. So, like you said, you were like Osmos last night, which is awesome. I just want to
Yeah.
say a big shout out to yesterday's topic. I got a bunch of messages saying that it helped out a
Good.
lot of people, and they were able to make those calls to their prospects, not to the prospects, to their customers, asking them about their vacation schedule. It's just that's what we aim to do here, Dan.
Perfect.
Give us a little feedback from yesterday, how you kind of felt with everything going on.
You know what? I kind of went back through the comments yesterday, just from people because the camera's here, the screen's here, so I don't, and you're producing it, so I don't really get to see very many of the comments. But a lot of people were saying, "Hey, man, like that's a great idea. That's a great idea," and I was really, really hoping you'd come back today and say people actually did it because it's so important, man. And I hope those of you that did it, please share. Like, did you have some pretty cool conversations with your customers about maybe where they're going or about what their team's doing or how they manage their schedule? I know, for example, my son, it goes seniority in his work, right? So
Yeah.
he's an electric apprentice. So at his company, it goes seniority. So if one of the senior guys takes a vacation on a specific week, there's only one more person that's allowed to go on that week. So they
Yeah.
don't shorten their ability to get jobs done, right? So every company has different policies, right? I know in my team, we used to get all of our customers in hot lead schedules, and then it would go to my team lead and she'd be able to pick the schedule and then second and then third and that kind of thing. And some people don't necessarily get the vacations they want on year one. I understand that, and sometimes it's challenging. And even us as family men that want to go out, you with your wife and in your family, like you want to do things at certain times, but it ended up being November was
Yeah.
the best time for
October,
my
November.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
October.
not even October because I had a whole bunch of Christmas stuff, but by the end of October it was all done. So it was that like first 2 weeks to the second and third week of November was like the ideal time to go on vacation. Normally it's like January, February because you're sick of winter, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
you
kind
want to
of,
get
you know what I
out. You
mean?
want to get out.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy, Dan? It's funny that you're saying that because like I'm thinking about it now and I worked at a corporate company for 7 years and we were seniority based as well. So, those Christmas week that you want off, definitely count that out. You're definitely working Christmas week. But I've learned to take my vacations in like September and October just because
Mhm.
like I just find it so much better. There's not a lot of people going. I've
Yeah.
never actually taken a summer vacation. Maybe I should this year, but now that I think about it, my wife and I have never gone away for summertime. And I guess maybe it was that training of like work-life balance, right? Like, hey, I can
Yeah.
only take vacation in October, November. It's always funny when you're, and I know we're talking about vacation here, but it's always funny when you're booking your vacation and you're looking at your vacation and you're like, hey, is it tropical storm season during that month? You know, you
Is
kind
it
of want to avoid.
hurricane
Is it
season?
seaweed?
Is it, yeah?
Exactly, seaweed
Is the
season or something.
seaweed coming into the shore? Is it, yeah? But you know what? The November schedule, like we would do, because the kids were a lot younger, we would do like Florida Disney and Disney World and that kind of stuff. Like zero lineups. It's beautiful weather. You know, then you come home into winter, which was fine because we had hockey and snowmobiling and all that kind of stuff. But it's you also look at that kind of stuff. Is it going to be jammed?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know about anyone else, but I don't necessarily like to go to a resort that's just jammed. You know what I
Me
mean?
too.
Where
Me too.
we've been to them before, where it's like literally you set your alarm for 5:30 in the morning, just go put your towel on a
Oh
chair somewhere
God.
on the
Yeah.
beach or by the pool. Like that to me drives me nuts. I want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to kind of mosey on to the breakfast, have a breakfast, and then do what I want to do, right? But
Yeah.
um, so there's that piece of it to pay attention to, and I never even thought of that whole seaweed thing because it comes in on certain shores at certain times of the year, right? And nothing like ruining a vacation, having to walk through 17 feet of seaweed before you can get out and snorkel. So
Yeah, there's been vacations that I've gone on, Dan, that we didn't even go onto the beach. We just hung out in the pools. Like there's like 12 pools or whatever. And that was our thing, just day drink and all that stuff. And the cool thing about vacation, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but the cool thing about vacation is, like I don't have a time. We don't set times. We don't look at our watches. I actually leave my Apple Watch at home. I'm like, I'll just bring like a watch for dinner just because I don't know why. Like, who do I need to impress, right? But we all got our phones and things like that. But yeah, vacation's awesome. I had a lot
buddy,
of
it's
feedback
the
from there.
accessories to the outfit, my brother,
Um,
right? You know
oh
what I'm
man,
saying?
I don't know if Christina's the same way, but like my wife, not that we match. So what she'll do is she waits for me to get ready first, and then she goes into her closet and then finds something to match. So it looks like we're matching and stuff like that, but she
That
actually
is
waits for me to
adorable.
dress. Yeah. She's all about that. She did that on our honeymoon. She does that even here,
So
even
so let's call a spade a spade. She puts clothes out on the bed for you.
no, no, no,
You
no.
put no, oh no, no,
No, no,
no,
I'm,
no. Okay,
I
okay.
you know what? I'm kind of that guy who I don't wear the same thing all the time, but I got my comfy clothes, So
Yeah,
if I know I'm gonna wear something, I know that shirt, that hoodie, and then those jeans. Especially when it comes to jeans, I probably have like 25 pairs of pants, Dan, but like I probably wear like two or three of them. So I
yeah,
know this
yeah.
is
I think
like
everybody's like that. I
really
think,
okay, good. Okay,
well,
I'm
I
not the
think
only
so.
one
I
then.
mean, I have probably 8 or 9 pairs of jeans. I think I wear two or three. I
Oh,
have probably 50 t-shirts. You'll notice on the show I wear probably four or five. Like
yeah,
it's just
it's life, man. It's life.
well, I
My
know
wife actually made a comment.
DJ here is saying good morning, gents. DJ's on the YouTube
He's on the
today,
YouTube, man.
but
Shout out to DJ and his show. The Robin
DJ
Hood
used to
Papoose.
wear Ohio shirts all the time.
He
Like you
did,
knew
and the
DJ
hat.
was from Ohio, and I can't believe when you told me you moved, I was blown away. But so I think all of us have, like, unless we're going to a business meeting or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Like then you pull out a golf shirt or whatever. But I mean, I think we all have those clothes that we tend to go to. I mean, I've got t-shirts that have been folded for
Years,
DJ
right?
says yes, sir. See, you got shirts that have been folded in your drawers for ages, and they just sit there. They end up becoming rags in the garage for me. But
Nice.
yeah,
I
we
love
all
that.
do, brother, because it's
Yeah,
it's
okay, good.
comfy.
I'm just not the only one thing. You know
Oh
what? I,
no,
I will
no,
say this though. Like I started golf 2, 3 years ago, and I'm taking it seriously now. I am looking. I have put together some really cool outfits for golfing. So hopefully we can
you have a
hit
white
the
belt
links
yet?
after. Not I don't like white, man. I can't keep white, man. The brown shout out to all the Caribbean islands this month, Dan. It's actually Indian arrival month where our ancestors went to the West Indies. So with that being said, all the curry and all the amazing foods that we have, I can never wear white. So no white belts, no white shirts. We got to keep it color coordinated, my man.
I hear you there, brother. Every time I put on a white shirt, I tend to get it dirty. But yes,
Ex-
yes, white is
Even the
one of those.
undershirts. Even undershirts.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? It's like under here, right? It's kind of from there. But Dan, I saw this topic yesterday twice on LinkedIn, and I think we're gonna bring some value to everybody because I think that's what our show is about. We didn't kind of plan this, but I saw two questions asking about hey, I'm calling prospects, but they tell me that we are customer routed or we're
Ah,
vendor routed or something like that. And it's just kind of a kick in the pants sometimes, right? But Dan, can you, with your background and everything like that, can you explain what that actually means, and then we'll kind of get into some strategies as well.
So I've always found it kind of means two things. One, I want to blow you off because
Sorry.
not and it's DJ, I love your shirt, buddy. DJ, DM me your new address, brother. Ryan and I got some new swag coming in. Well, I'll send you one of these. It's an awesome shirt, man. So one, it's BS, and they just want to blow you off because what do you really say to customer routed? And I'm gonna say 95% of the salespeople calling typically go, okay, thank you very much, have a great day. So it's an easy way to get you off the phone, right? Number two, it actually is customer routed,
Mhm.
right? I mean, those are really, to me, the only two options. You're trying to blow me off, and you're trying to pretty much tell me to go take a long walk off a short pier. I don't have the time. I've had 27 of these calls already today, not interested, or you are customer routed. So, first thing I do is I go, you're customer routed. Oh, what are some of the pros and cons to that?
Mm.
And a lot of the times when I ask that question, I have to step back and preface it. And I've always said to myself, um, Dan, preface it and then ask the question. And I've always found the way I speak, anyways, I'm better to ask the question, then step back and preface. So, what are some of the pros and cons? The reason I ask, Ryan, is because I'm an avid learner, and I'd love to understand, like, is it a pain in the butt? Does it drive you nuts some days? And then I guess other days when things are going wrong, you put your hands in the air because your customers routed the freight and said, "Hey, you chose the carrier, so like you must get away with a few things," and that usually sparks a conversation. And if it is customer routed, from what I can recall, prospects have always come back and said, you know, it is kind of like a catch 22 when stuff goes wrong and carriers don't show up. They go like, it wasn't me that ordered the truck. So the customer can try and yell at me, but they have no leg to stand on because they ordered the truck.
Mhm.
But one of the biggest things, then we start, you start breaking it down and start having a conversation. One of the biggest things was control, right? Like how do we have control? And then I'd actually, depending on, and obviously for everybody watching and listening, not every single conversation got in, or a call got into a conversation. Some was just
Yeah.
no thanks to click and just wanted to get on their way. But the ones that did, you can get into things like, what does that do to your shipping schedule? What does that do to people on the dock? What does that do to the long-term effects of bottlenecking at your place? And then the stuff that you do control, because they'll control their inbound. So, like, again, a company, most of the time, companies don't just have that finished product going out. They got raw materials coming in. Those raw materials coming in, 99.9% of the time, they control them.
Yeah.
It's not routed by their shipper. They control the cost on that. Now, whether they built the cost into the price of the product, and then that's the conversation I would typically try to get into. I can't tell you in 30 years, I can count on one hand how many times shippers went from customer routed to using me instead. One
Yeah.
hand. And that, so like, it's very, very slim that I found, anyways. I don't know about you, Ryan,
Yeah.
but I've just found the red tape to leap through. Like the traffic manager would be like, I wish, Dan, I wish, but
Yeah.
the boss who really ultimately is my boss thinks this is the best way. I've presented to them 7 different times and da-da-da. What do you find?
Yeah. So I think I love this question anytime I get this from a prospect. And I love that you said, I want to acknowledge that you said that it's not every conversation like this is never going to turn to a conversation. They're going to be the ones that they be like, okay, cool, I'm done. Let's move on with it. And that's a part of sales that I want people to understand with here is that not every time you pick up the phone is going to lead to a conversation. And that's just the way it is. So let's say I get somebody on the phone and I hear that. There's two things I kind of do. I like to kind of gather some more information, just like you're talking about being an avid student or anything like that. I always kind of preface and I always kind of say, hey, I'm always looking to get better at my craft. Like I think I might be doing good, but I want to get better and I want to learn business so I can be better for my customers. Right. And so I preface it by that and then learn a little bit more. And people are more open to talk about once they get that defense down. Another thing for me too is when I kind of find that it's not going anywhere, I kind of ask, say, hey, who is your customer, who is your shipper, do you have any referrals, is there any other companies like yours, like let's say it's a small company going into Amazon. Hey, there's going to be a group or a niche of like products or other shippers who are going to be going to Amazon. So maybe we can look at maybe a consolidation effort from that point of view if it's not a full truckload. But for me, I go into every conversation where I want to learn more, not to get a customer. And you always talk about commission breadth, and I think that's really important, and that kind of separates people from being a regular sales rep to a high performance logistics sales rep, in the terms of that they just want to get better at their craft. So the next time I have a conversation with somebody saying, hey, we're customer routed, well, I talked to this prospect and they said these things about being customer routed. Are they in line with what you're kind of seeing? And you just have a conversation with somebody from there. So I think I like that. I think Lisa kind of mentioned here about inbound freight, as you mentioned, raw materials. Even if
Mhm.
it's not, even if it's not in North America, there's something that you can get involved with if you ask enough. If they're doing ocean freight, or they're doing airplane freight, or they're doing different kinds of like final miles, or any last mile or anything like that. So there's always an opportunity to have a conversation, but there's not always an opportunity to have a sale. And I think that's where the difference comes in for high performance logistics sales rep.
You know, I love that you said that, Ryan, because one thing I also see as you're having that conversation, you're mentally deciding, is this customer right for me?
Yeah.
Right? You love to have conversations. If this customer is just bah, 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 you're probably going to end that call going, yeah, if you're this much of a jerk without even knowing you, imagine if I screw up on a load, what you're going to be like. And once they start having that conversation, Lisa spoke about inbound freight. That's why I love the bottleneck question.
Mhm.
Like, how does it bottleneck with your inbound freight? Oh man, our inbound freight, it's when these people don't show up, it's a bloody nightmare. Because let's not for a second pretend people love to complain,
Yeah.
right? They do, they really do.
Yep.
People enjoy it. You can ask specific questions and people will complain for 20 or 30 minutes. And when you give them an outlet to complain, if they feel comfortable enough in the conversation, I mean, they're not going to give away secrets or complain about, my boss is a effing idiot, but they're going to complain enough to give you some gold nuggets
Yep.
that you can turn around and use in the conversation if you listen intently enough. And that bottleneck question for me always opened up an inbound raw material or parts. If it was an assembly plant, maybe it's parts. And then that's when you find the supply chain just kind of branches out like this. You're like, wow. Because I'm sure we've talked about it, a set of pens like this involves like 15 different companies.
Yeah.
Like from the plastic extrusion to the eraser to the ink to the pen tips and they all come in together. Like an iPhone, I think, was 46 countries and on 100 different, I forget what it was, but you have all of these things coming in to assemble what we use daily and the stuff we go through. I mean, you think about how many parts are in a printer,
Mhm.
like just from all over the world, right? There's always going to be that product inbound. So let's say, for example, Hewlett Packard doesn't control their outbound to Best Buy and all that because Best Buy does it. There's so many different levels of their freight needs and their supply chain needs and their global supply chain that you just got to crack that egg a little bit and that conversation starts flowing. So I love that you said that, because that conversation you have, brother, is going to tell you everything you want to know about the customer you're about to get into bed with, right? And
100%. 100%.
in the end, I'm sorry, but there's been a lot of customers I've dealt with for way too long that I just hated. But
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because I needed the paycheck, I dealt with them. And they are actually the ones that burn you out. It's not, I don't believe for a second, I don't believe this industry burns you out. It's bad customers that burn you out, brother. Because
Yep.
this industry is fun as hell. Like,
Yep.
it is so much fun. You get to talk to some pretty cool people. You get to meet people from all over like so many different countries and like so many different styles and the way they, I remember being in Afton, Tennessee, Dry County with Doug Derryberry, my first customer from Plus Mark Incorporated. And Doug was like, He was like my grandfather, man. He was so cool. And then that afternoon, we went. My senior vice president Mark and I flew from Tennessee to Ohio, and we went and met this lady Gail in Ohio for pool covers. And it was like two completely different worlds. You go from like a dry county where it's religion, and you go up to Ohio and everybody's cursing and swearing and everything.
Shout out to DJ.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so you get to meet so many people, and you get to do so many fun things, like go to events, go to these functions, travel, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, depending on who you are, you like travel or you don't. But and so I really don't think that the industry burns us out. I think it's the people we deal with.
100%. And I think it's it's just the people we deal with, and that comes on the carrier side as well, right? So,
Yeah.
if you're going for that low hang, and I feel like I'm all about positive energy and sending it to the universe, right? So let's say you get on the phone with somebody and coming back to like customer routed, but they give you a shot, and it could go downhill when they're like, okay, well, this is my price. Can you beat it by $50? Never win on price, my friends. That's my number one tip for anybody who gets in this situation here, because if you win on price, you're going to lose on price. And you look at that spiral effect, and that you're beating your price by $50. You got to go to a carrier. Let's call it a spade. You're probably going to get a low to the bottom barrel carrier, and look at right now the rampant double brokering that's going on, right? So I think I forgot who said this, but somebody on our show said this was like, always leave. I think it was Dean, actually, was always leave a piece on the table for the next person. And yeah, it was definitely Dean. I'm bringing up there. So, when we're coming back and you're talking about the industry burns out, I've personally, like, you're right. I've never felt industry burnout, only when I was getting started for the first time, building my first book of business. So if you're building your first book of business, know that there's a process to this, So there's going to be the days, and that's where the days where you make the work count for you. But other than that, like, everything's been so cool, man. Like, like you said, man, I've been on some pretty cool vacations. Met some really cool people. Hell, this Thursday, I'm meeting somebody that I've been talking to online for like 6 years, for the very first time. So
and have you never met him in person?
Never met him in person, and I'm just gonna give a quick,
Oh.
yeah, I got to give a quick story about that, because that's actually relevant to what's happening right now. So when I moved from operations to sales, I was struggling, as everybody was, but I was really thinking about throwing in the towel. There was a point in time that I was like, okay, maybe I'm just not made out for sales, and
Can
I
I
was
ask
too
you why?
embarrassed. I just wasn't. It was my platform where I was. So a lot of like we were doing 120 calls a day. So I'm exhausted by the time I get home. I didn't want to talk to my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. I went home, and thankfully I didn't take any like substance abuse or anything like that. But I was just tired. I just go home and sleep, and then get up the next day and try to bang on 120 calls. And yeah, exactly. So that's the way I was. So mind you, I saw that, and then I came across this Reddit post. Reddit's a big thing to me, and it was actually Freight Brokers Reddit, and it was somebody was having the similar feelings as I was, like, hey, I'm ready to get out. And I'll never forget this. I think it was Canada Freight Guy was his username, and he just honestly just gave his playbook, just stay in there. I've been this in for like X amount of years, and it was just that piece of advice that I needed to read. So funny fact was, like, I messaged him, we talked on Reddit, then we connected on LinkedIn, and then he's just been a really good friend ever since. But like, I don't think I would have like quit the industry, but that definitely helped me push more even forward and stay on the track. So that's my story of actually how I know this really, really good friend, Drew Pearson, who is an amazing person. So that's my little everything. There's no coincidences in life, my man. There is none. Everything happened for a reason.
And you know what, Ryan? You just helped so many new people in the industry, because right there, what you just explained, the burnout, that was because you had no playbook that worked. You were just kind of arbitrarily going. And when you have a playbook, and I know it sounds so crazy, but G.I. Joe had it the best, right? Knowing is half the battle. If you know what you're walking into, you can always prepare for it mentally, physically, get on that positive vibe, get on that, okay, once something's going to hit. I remember when I started understanding sales for the first time, I started dissecting my calls, and I realized, based on the amount of calls I made to close a customer, how much each customer was valued to me. I did some math. Every phone call was worth $5. So I took a color photocopy as a $5 bill and I put it on my phone, taped it to the back of my phone. Now that was when we actually had desk phones
I
back
miss
in the
desk
day.
phones, by the way, man. I really do
I
miss it.
love those.
I miss my Avaya phone, man. Like I miss like
Yeah.
picking that up and clicking that, man. But anyways,
So every time I picked up the phone, in my mind, I would say, I just made $5. I
Mm,
just made $5. I just made $5. And for me, that was the way I got past that initial, because I mean, it is tough. It is tough. And I don't necessarily know if it's any tougher today than it was when we first started. I think it's different.
yeah,
But it was still tough. You have no business. You're visually seeing all these people land get loads. Maybe you walk in and you see, a Porsche or a Mercedes in the parking lot. You're like, oh, I want that. Because think about it. I mean, I was 17. I wanted it. I was like, I want that dude's 911 Carrera. Like, I want that car. And,
yep,
jealousy. There was jealousy. There was all these other things. And it was, I think about it now, and it's so crazy because these guys were 5, 10 years in the business, and I'm 3 months in the business, 17 years old, and I'm jealous because they're making it. It was stupid. Like it was, but that's the way the brain goes. And then you start to develop a plan, then you start to close customers, and that's when that burnout turns to fun.
yes,
See, you were about to burn out. You had somebody in the industry step up and say, Here, this is what I went through. This is why this show exists. This is why we're doing what we're doing right now, brother. Because now
mm,
you're helping the same people that are going through what you went through. You're helping them get through it. Like, brother, pat yourself on the back, man. You're
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's something that I appreciate every day, and that's the one thing I've kind of told you, like when we started talking. It's like from like I think it was like 8:30 to like 9:30. Is like don't nobody call me during that time. Is like that's my prayer time and like my meditation, and that's what I reflect on. Just manifesting that. I'm so appreciative of this life. I spoke a couple weeks ago at my first speech with Toastmasters, talking about the first time I ever had loss in my life. Like think about it, right? Like I had my first loss a couple years ago when my first dog died. Other than that, like my
Mhm.
paternal, maternal grandparents, they're all dead by the time I was like 5, 6 years old. But coming back to it, it's just like if our intention here, like just so everybody's watching here, like I don't care if one person watches or 500 people watch. I want to be able to like what gives me value is when somebody messages us and be like, "Hey, I tried that tip and it worked for me," or I've learned this from you guys specifically, and that's what we're aiming here. Like yes, obviously we'd like to be become big podcasters and be like the Jay Shettys and the Ed Milets, but we're not like you were talking about the Porsche Carreras, seeing everything in the parking lot. Those took work to get into there, right? So for us, we understand that we're still learning, right? And for me as
Yeah.
well, like we're constant, like you and I, we're not going to be the greatest cold callers ever. We're never going to claim that, we're not going to be the greatest logistics sales reps that there is. There's always going to be somebody better than us, but at the end of the day, it's what we're giving back. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's more important to me because I think that's where the universe opens up a little bit.
Well, I could not agree with you more, brother. You know what? I've seen way too many people that are making it in the industry hold everything so close to their chest, thinking if I give
Gatekeep.
it to you, then I'm going to
Yeah.
lose it. And it's just not it's not. You always get farther with collaboration than you do with anything else.
Yep.
I remember working for a company, helping people at other salespeople, other companies get better at sales. Like I have friends at other companies that would call me up and say, "Hey, how about this?" And I'd give them advice. And
Yep.
I remember so many people saying, "What are you doing? That's competition." I'm like, "Come on, competition. Come on. If it was finite and this was the amount of money that is in the industry and only this, then maybe you have some competition. Maybe.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, there is a piece of the pie for everybody that has a desire to help a customer. And not only that, I'll go a step further here. Anyone who's feeling the way Ryan was feeling when he first started, and like, man, this is tough and I'm exhausted. Understand this. There is somebody out there that needs what you're offering. I don't care if you're 2 weeks in this industry. They need what you're offering. And maybe if it's just as simple as that guy that gal that's going to make the extra call, put that extra mile in to help them out. They need you. They really do. And I think this is the biggest shift a salesperson can make when they understand no matter what they do, no matter how many customers they have, they are needed in our industry. It changes everything. Everything.
100%.
That's, you talk about Ed Millett, you talk about Jay Shetty, right? There's people out in this world that listen to Jay Shetty and they're like, he doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
That's fine. He's out for the people he resonates with. Everybody will resonate with somebody. Ryan, we're going to have people watching the show that like, yeah, it's okay, but I don't know. I'd rather go watch somebody else's show. And that's fine as long as they get something from that other show. People resonate with different people. And as a sales rep, no matter where you are in your career, no matter where you are, somebody needs you to step up to the plate and make that extra phone call. They need you to step up to the plate and send that email to them. And I know it sounds crazy. They're waiting for you. And they might not know it, but they are. Because you're the one that's going to solve their problem. And that, to me, is what has kept me so, like, just energized in this game of logistics, because it is so vast and there's so many different areas. I mean, I have customers from 20 years ago still call me today. Hey, what do you think about this, this, and this?
Yep.
Like just last night, guy calls me, he says, Dan, I haven't spoke to him in, I hadn't spoken to Pierre in probably 5 years. And I'm like, hello? And he goes, you have the same number. I go, listen, that's one thing that will never change is my phone number. Because when people have it, they have it.
Yeah, of course.
He goes, listen, he goes, I'm, obviously the whole, I apologize. I haven't called you in a couple of years. I said, that's fine. I'm no longer with that company. Anyways, I said, what's going on? He says, well, this is what's happening. And here's what I told him. In the end, I said, your best bet is for you to rent a U-Haul and drive it. He goes, are you serious? I said, yep. You're telling me that stuff's coming in on Wednesday and it needs to be in Calgary by Friday? The only way, like I go, the only way you can do that is like you'd have to drive it and you'd have to be gone probably Tuesday.
Yeah, you gotta get
And
on
he's
that
like,
plane,
oh,
buddy.
so maybe I should meet him. And well, it's a bunch of DG that he says no plane would take. And I didn't even, and it wasn't even like I was, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have got involved.
Yeah.
He had somebody that had the freight. They have screwed up somehow. It was supposed to be here Monday and now it's Wednesday. Something's happened. Like if I were to jump in the middle there, I know I'd be the one being yelled at the end because what he was asking for was literally impossible unless you could fly it. And he said no plane would take it. So I said, your best bet is to jump in a U-Haul with your son and go straight. Because you can make it if you go straight. But you literally got to pack a bunch of coolers, eat, sleep, crap on the road, no stopping in hotels. You got to go straight through. And I said, you'll be fine at this time of year because weather won't make a huge impact. Like it's not like you're gonna have a freak snowstorm, but well, you might get out west, but I said, and that's it. He goes, yeah. I go. Otherwise, you're probably looking at 12, 15 grand for somebody to make that happen.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa. And I go, well, he goes, well, I'm glad I called you because you gave me the straight scoop. Now, sure, could I have made a lot of money on that if I found some, you know what I mean? Probably, Ryan, but I'm not.
But that wasn't your intention, though, and that wasn't your intention for the phone call, anyways. His intention wasn't to get, and you know what? Even if like he wanted you to like handle the freight, he would have simply asked, right? So it's like people ask those questions. So I think it's amazing to kind of give that feedback. And the one thing that you said that I want to regurgitate again is that we don't gatekeep here. Nothing that we say or do. Like, hey, if you want to know the prospect, like I do a lot of video prospecting. If you want to know what I do, if you want some scripts, shoot me a message. But you know what, Dan? It's a great segue because we've been having a ticker go all morning this morning and we haven't even talked about it. So I want you to talk a little bit about what that ticker is, what can people expect, and just give the people some feedback, my man.
So this actually came up 2 weeks ago when Ryan and I were talking about that one pager where we were talking, this is your question, this is what the prospect says, this is what you say in reply to the prospect, how do you make it better? And that kind of thanks, Lisa. That kind of 4-column thing. And we said, we want to start giving away these tools on the show. And obviously this being live, then in replays, then in podcast form, a little difficult because in podcast form, we can't put the link in the messages that you guys see on the side. So Ryan and I said, you know what, we're going to put a website together. So we call it Sales Chatter Live. We got the URL. Now, funny story about the URL. For like a week, the website's not working. And I'm like, I don't know why it's not working. I bought SALSE Chatter. So I spelled sales wrong when I
Not
purchased the
salsa
first
chatter, by the
URL.
way.
What's that?
Not
Was that
salsa
wrong?
chatter, by the way. No, no
Yeah,
salsa
yeah,
chatter.
yeah, yeah. There was no A. It was like Celsi. So I'm a huge typo guy. So I bought the wrong URL. So we're trying to connect the server to the, and it's not working. I'm like, Ryan, I don't know why. So anyway, what we're gonna do from now on is like every week we're gonna try and give you a blueprint, a template, a game plan, if you will. Lisa says I'm not surprised. Those who know me know I'm the typo master. I type so fast. So we're going to try and give you a template, a game plan, maybe like a short book, that kind of thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it up on our website. So all you need to go to is saleschatterlive.com. Just go there, grab it, download it, and it's yours. We don't have a place to sign up for our newsletter yet. We'll get that up probably today, tomorrow. But that's where we're going to be able to do everything. So whether you're watching this on audio, it's saleschatterlive.com, or you're looking at the ticker down at the bottom. Go there, check it out. It has a few stories on Ryan and I. You can listen to all our episodes on the podcast page. It's pretty cool. It's kind of I geek out at electronics and all the gadgets and stuff. But
No, I like that we have a landing page. People can go back and see previous episodes. And most importantly, they can actually like reach out to us. And I think that's one important thing, especially when we're kind of on this journey together. So if there's any like questions you guys ever have, I know some people might be apprehensive. Don't ever be apprehensive to message us or DM us on any kind of social media platform. We're pretty easygoing guys. But I know some people might be apprehensive, like messaging like a stranger or something like that. But yeah, you can always like leave some feedback on there. Shoot us a message on saleschatterlive.com. Take a look at everything and just support your guys. We're trying to build something up here pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to it. The website looks awesome, as Lisa kind of says. And, it's going to be the one thing that we look at, Dan, is Alex Ramosi. I'll leave with this last Alex Ramosi quote is just like, when you look at legacy as something that you leave, a book, something online, that's going to be your legacy, what's been talked about maybe 100 years from now, right? No one's going to remember your kindness or anything like that after a couple of years, but people are going to know that things like this that are out there are podcasts. And this is relevant. I wish I had this. I wish, what, we never even had these kind of podcasts 6 years ago when I was getting into the industry and I was at that point, right? So, I'll always be there for that. Dan, final thoughts on customer routed. Give us 3 tips, 3 short tips that you would advise anybody on that call again.
I like how you went short tips.
Yeah.
So again, pros, cons, ask pros, cons. Just try and have, like with any call, whether it's customer or not, just a conversation. What does that do to you? How does it impact you? Ask the questions that pull them away from, this is a salesperson calling me, right? And tip number 3 is, just, and I'm going to say never give up, but try and make everything fun. And because when we have fun, it's not really work. And do your best to, I know cold calls sometimes suck, but how can you have fun? How can you make a game out of it? If you gamify, shout out to Chad, if you gamify the way you work, you will have a blast all day long. And who doesn't want to go to somewhere where they smile all day long?
Yeah.
Right? That's my 3 short. Man, was that short, Ryan?
That was good. That was really good.
Give your brother some kudos here, man.
Yeah, I gotta give you some kudos, man. That was awesome for that one. And my one tip for anything customer routed, having that conversation.
How come I had to do 3?
Huh?
How come I had to do 3?
Because I know you're gonna take like 5 minutes. No, I'm just joking. I was like, let's go from there. Love you, brother. So if you found value in this, which I know you did, and shout out to Jeff for sure coming right at the end. This is like when we have like those prayer services and you come at the end just to eat. Yeah. So he came in to digest all the food. Yeah, exactly. So if you have value in this, please like, share, comment, check out our new website, give us some feedback, reach out to us, connect with us. That's what we're here for. Share this with a friend, a neighbor, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and most importantly, the Amazon driver who's bringing your packages today, because we all know you ordered something on Amazon Prime last night. We'll hit the replay again at 2 p.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And tune in for tomorrow, Data Day. We got a jam-packed episode with Dean Croak and the Bodacious Cowboy himself joining us as we talk all things data. And we got a pretty cool topic, Dan, that I'm looking forward to chatting with everybody here. With that being said, we'll see everybody tomorrow to talk about what Dan ate for dinner tonight. Take care, everybody.